Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining. We got a great group here. So everybody that is coming in live, you missed all the Taylor Swift talk. So we got that out of our system. We're not going to cover that. So if you came here to talk about Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift, you already missed it. So that'll be on repeat. But seriously, we are excited to be with you today. Thanks for joining in. Back in May, we did a LinkedIn Live here and talked about or demonstrated the FinLocker 4.0. Like most technology companies, we keep iterating and evolving and advancing the product. And we have a couple updates to give you on the product today. But really, the basis of today is to talk with users of the FinLocker product that are really getting traction and kind of share their story on how they're using it. And, as much as we want this to be about FinLocker, I really want this to be about business practices and what people should be thinking about in business as it relates to engaging consumers. And so, each of the folks on the screen here have their own branded version of FinLocker. Yes, we're going to talk about FinLocker, but there's other products and tech out there that you might be able to swap in and swap out based on some ideas. And we really just want this to be a fluid conversation. And so I'm going to start real quick with an introduction, and then I want to just give a few updates on the FinLocker side. I do want to let folks know that if you're out there, just drop a comment and tell us where you're watching from. Take your eyes off your rate screen for a minute. The market's terrible today. Rates are improving. We all know. Take a break from that and tell us where you're watching from. And one of our team members on FinLocker will be monitoring the chat as well. So let me go around my screen. I'm going to go from the bottom right corner and work my way back. So joining from leader one is Alice Lund. Alice, thank you so much.
It's great to be here. Thanks, Brian.
Alice, why don't you tell us real quick what you all branded your version of FinLocker? What's the product name?
It's called Manifest with Us. So we love the term manifest. We're trying to, there's a spiritual aspect to it, holistic, financial health and home ownership wellness. So we went with that.
Oh, I love it. And then my friend Abdel Kawami. Abdel, you're joining us from New Jersey and from PRMG, and you guys just rebranded your version of FinLocker. Tell us about that.
Yep. So we had it previously Paramount Datable, rebranded to Path Home.
Path Home.
The goal of bringing people to Path Home, and just instituting it from A to Z, right? From the initial touch with the consumer to post closing, tracking equity, and all that stuff in an effort to stay top of mind with them. So,
love it. And Mark Whitty. Mark is with Highland Mortgage, part of the Truth and Lending team. By the way, selfish plug, tune in Friday to FinTech Fridays. I interviewed Laura Whitty from the Truth and Lending team and learned all about how that brand came about. Mark, tell us a little bit about your branded version, because I understand you were the brains behind the Highland.
I think I was I drew the straw, but it was we've dubbed it Ready Set Home. We've seen it as a entry to home ownership, an entry to start the conversation either between us and the realtor, or as we're trying to do more direct to consumer marketing. A good way just to add something else to our product mix.
Love it. We're gonna dig into each of y'all's kind of strategies and use cases and best practices, and I think I'm expecting that we're all going to learn a little bit from each other as well, which is going to be pretty cool. Also joining us, we can't see his face, but trust me, he's out there. Min Win. Min is with What's a Mortgage. I suspect most people know what Min looks like if you follow What's a Mortgage on TikTok, Instagram, and any other social media platforms. How you doing, buddy?
Good, man. And yourself? Sorry about that, man. I'm doing like everything. I was like, couldn't get this thing to connect.
It's all right. We already joked you've got a face for radio, so it's all good.
Yeah. I love it.
So, Min, we're just doing a little bit of a round robin intro. So, Min's with What's a Mortgage. Min, tell us what you all, how you all branded your version of FinLocker.
So we call it the Wham wallet. I use the word wham a lot. So for myself, I feel like when you're trying to build a tribe or a culture, you start making up your own words and your own acronyms that only your culture understands. So when it's your culture that understands a specific word, it kind of builds this like camaraderie. So that's why I wanted to call it Wham. We have Wham wallet, Wham squad, Wham fam. So we use the word Wham pretty heavily instead of saying the word What's a Mortgage, and that's why we branded it as Wham wallet.
Love it. And we're gonna get into some of your strategies and tactics as well to drive thousands of consumers to the Wham wallet in a short amount of time. But before I go around and really kind of drill into the stories from each of you, I just want to talk a little bit in general about what's happened since early May when we did our 4.0 launch. This will be quick. So we've really doubled down on the co-branding ability for a loan officer and a real estate agent. So that feature is fully baked, fully live in the platform today. If you're watching and you're an existing loan officer or lender and you're not sure how to get that set up, reach out to our customer success team. It's super simple. As a reminder for those that are using the product, you can add an infinite number of loan officers. And I know, Mark, this is a part of your strategy we'll get into. Each of those loan officer realtor pairings creates a unique URL, right? So as a loan officer, you can have an infinite number of referral partner agents, and each of your agents will have a unique URL link that they can use in their database to attract people to your version of the product. So cool feature there. Mortgage readiness or mortgage affordability or homeownership snapshot, those are all used kind of interchangeably in our product in terms of the key widget that really helps people understand where they are in terms of being ready for mortgage. And we've continued to spend a lot of time really bringing more tools to that particular feature. And what we're seeing, which is super interesting, is that most new users that download our app are starting with that mortgage readiness feature. It's like the starting point for them. And then what's really interesting, again, you learn a lot of stuff when you deploy it and you put it out to the market and consumers start to bang around with it. What we're seeing is users are running readiness like up to four times, 5 times, 6 times in the first few days of them creating an account. So it's become more than what we anticipated. We really thought it would be this evergreen, perpetual snapshot of somebody's readiness, kind of what we call it. But we're actually seeing consumers use it as a kind of a hyper-powered dynamic calculator. And they're running all kinds of different scenarios to kind of find their optimal approvability, which is super interesting. And a byproduct of that, I know the folks on the screen here will probably nod their head. Every time a user's running that readiness, that's an alert back to the assigned loan officer. So you talk about a way to really get connection and get engagement. When users are running that readiness, the assigned loan officer really gets to understand and see what's going on there. And then as it relates to loan officers, we're going all in on the loan officer model. We believe that the local loan officer is by far the single best resource for financial education and specifically for homeownership preparation. And so this is where we spend most of our time right now, is thinking about how we can improve the tool for loan officers and help make it easier for loan officers to get the tool in front of their database and then in their sphere. And so with that, you'll see already live in the product we added a feature on the landing page. So if someone's coming to the product, a consumer's coming to the product to sign up or register or enroll for the first time on the web, and I think it's on mobile. My team will tell me if I'm wrong. They're good at that. The loan officer is front and center on that enrollment registration landing page. And so right out of the gate, if you're a loan officer and you've invited a consumer to create an account, they're going to see you right when they hit that sign up page. It just reinforces the relationship between yourself and the consumer. You've built the trust. It's your brand. It's your message. We're just helping you amplify it and scale it. And so we always want you, the loan officer, to be front and center. So you're going to see us continue to emphasize you as a loan officer in the experience. And then the next thing that's coming soon within weeks is what we call a digital business card. And so we built a really slick, digital card, and each loan officer will have this digital card that they can store on their phone and use it as just a quick, simple way to invite someone to download their version of the app. So it'll have the value prop of the product, why it's valuable for the consumer, all the pertinent information on the loan officer, and then of course that unique link that's tied to the loan officer when they're inviting a consumer in. So a lot of good stuff coming down the pipe. One other thing that is coming soon now. My guests that are joining us today all have enterprise branded instances of FinLocker, of course. But there's a lot of loan officers out there that reach out to us every day wanting to take advantage of the product. And unfortunately for them, they're not part of a company that has an enterprise agreement yet. And so we've created a version of the product that will be available to any and all loan officers, even those that are not part of a company enterprise agreement. And that product is called Key Steps, Key Steps. And so Key Steps will be in the market here in the next few weeks, available for loan officers that are not part of some of the great partners that we work with today.
Hey, Brian, can I add one thing on the registration, the landing pages, and it relates to digital business cards is
Sure.
As you're building those realtor partners, if a realtor if you've given them their own custom link for, partnering with you, they're actually going to be the ones visible on the landing page. So as you're presenting it to realtors, it's a new feature just got released last week, but you can actually set them up and show them the experience right from the beginning that they live as part of the app.
Love that. Okay, the paid portion of this show has now been completed. We just satisfied our commercial obligation. Thank you, FinLocker, for sponsoring today's event. Let's get into it. Let's start kind of talking about the nuts and bolts and how each of you guys are utilizing the product in your company and with your teams. And Alice, I'm going to start with you in the Manifest with Us app. What's the primary use case today for you all with the FinLocker app?
Well, it's interesting because, we started down this path with you, Brian, because I think a lot of loan officers, we were looking for a better way to handle a client and to, insulate a client and to stay connected with a client that for whatever reason is not ready to buy a house today. We as an industry have not done a good job with that. You turn someone down and yes, they're in your prospects, they're in your decline files, and you maybe have a CRM and you maybe have a campaign that goes out to people that aren't qualifying at the time, but it wasn't good enough. And I love our credit experts. They do a great job, and there's definitely a case, a time and a place for that. But just to send someone on their way with, hey, I want to connect you with a credit expert, or, okay, you're not ready, let me set a, Outlook follow-up to call you in 9 months. That just wasn't doing it. And so, and then also, just looking at wanting to be more direct to consumer, knowing how Gen Z buyers are going to be buying, that they are going to want to go directly to places like, the internet, to social media, to find out what they should be doing to buy a house. Is more confusing than ever. And so giving people tools and helping them and encouraging them to understand that we want to talk to them a year ago We wanted to talk to them when they're just realizing they want to buy a house. We don't want them to show up on the day they want to apply for a mortgage and say, I want to apply and I want to buy a house now. We wanted to talk to them when they're preparing. And people think that when they're going to talk to a loan officer that they have to be ready to apply, and that's just not necessarily the case. And so, when we started this journey, we really thought that we were going to be working and trying to build that direct consumer funnel. And then, of course, to have a place to nurture our clients that are applying with us that aren't ready. What we found, and like you said, you don't know your own technology until you really, put it into place in your own business. You really don't know it until you feel it and you use it and you have experiences with it and you understand really where it belongs in your process. And what we found is that our partners, our realtors, and we're 99% referral based, they love it. And so that has been kind of the most exciting part of it, is that it's not that we're trying to go around our realtor partners. It's that we're trying to lock arms with them. To get the education out there to consumers. I went to a meeting this morning, and this was my Manifest with Us flyer was the top billing inside of my folder, and it's one of the things I'm most excited to talk about because we all want to make sure that the clients are educated early in the process. So that part of it has been the most exciting piece, just understanding that it's really bringing a valuable tool to realtors and acts as a CRM for them if they don't have one. So it's been a great journey.
I love that. I want to stay on that focus with the realtors for a moment, Mark, and talk about one of the areas that you all kind of really hit the ground running quickly with, which is that realtor partner opportunity. Can you just share a little bit about how you guys are leveraging your Ready Set Home app with your real estate partners?
We're using it as an extension of our, kind of our service offerings to them, in that we can, co-brand this as something for them to start conversations. Because, a lot of times, like Alice was just saying, we want to start this conversation, months ago. And so this is a way, especially with people like in the service industry or self-employed, that or new students out of college, that here's something that they can do in the privacy of their own home, in the palm of their hand, have access to ask those questions like, can I afford a $500,000 house? What happens if the interest rate goes up a point or two? And I think some realtors don't want to have those conversations. They're like, oh, let me get you introduced to a lender. And this is, I think it's an education tool that we've really kind of got behind and putting some of our marketing efforts into. So we've had, so my wife and I have had, I think, 5 different, where we've had an audience of multiple realtors, and Chris helped me put together a PowerPoint that we co-branded with the Ready Set Home, and just go through that, and it really, really sells itself. I've found.
So you're Mark, you're a gifted marketer without a doubt. Your team has done a great job, as all of you guys have done a great job with kind of tying in your brand, your company, and then the FinLocker product. Adrian's going to flash up on the screen here as soon as I figure out how to let him share.
They're shared. I don't know if you can see them or not.
I'm not seeing anything.
I've got the.
We're not seeing it yet, but we're going to share on the screen here. Trust us. Some marketing hot off the presses. I think this email came over this morning, actually.
Yeah, but 4 of them were created this morning. Yeah.
And so we're going to pop them up here. If we're not able to share them for whatever reason, we'll drop them in the comments so people can see. But it just gives you, Alice put up her flyer that she used this morning with some agents. There's obviously great calls to action on there, QR codes. It makes it easy for someone to sign up. Mark and his team did the same with the Ready Set Home product, and those are the things that get us really excited when we see our customers kind of create marketing strategies around the product itself. It gets really exciting, and I think that's where a lot of ideas come out, where we thought we were going to use the product for this, and it turns out it's actually helping us do this, whatever this is. And so let's shift over real quick to Abdel. You're a process guy. You dial in kind of your customer consumer journey and really build process around it. And right out of the gate, you were all over the then branded PRMG Vault, now Path Home, and used it in your process. Just tell us a little bit about how you were leveraging the product to improve your customer experience.
Yeah, I mean, we automatically work on advising the client to enroll every single time. I mean, I think with the power of the tool and staying top of mind, not just on the client, but you guys pushing the agents on the top, and as much as we try to get the agents to use it, they don't use it as much as we should, right? But it's truly staying top of mind. You guys have been doing a phenomenal job too of more of the updates on the alerts. I know I had shared that with you before. So the second we're getting an alert, me or our team of loan officers are grabbing it, really just hitting forward, putting the agent on there and congratulating the consumer on, hey, dude, crushed it on your credit, good stuff. Or, hey, I see some changes, or now you're from 60% ready to 75% ready and stuff like that. And the agents are also like, what the heck is this? And then you're reminding them of the added value proposition that we have in place. And it's been great. Having the ability to also have that tool belt to go out there and promote it on social media, like we did the other day when clients are like, well, what's this app thing you guys are talking about? And then we're sharing it with them and allowing the real estate agent themselves to also explore the journey at the same time as a consumer. And then they're like, holy crap, this is awesome. And then be able to obviously now go out there and promote it themselves as an app that they themselves have the ability to stay top of mind with their clients, and taking it from there. I mean, we've created like our own, I'm sure Britt has shared it with you. Like whenever we have a referral partner, I'm not just saying, hey, send me your headshot and real estate number and email address. We have a specific form. They sign a QR code. It automatically fills out the information based on that stuff. My team on the digital lending side grabs it, creates a QR code, customizes the code for them, and then bam. And it's allowed us that ability to truly, like you said, status and operations, right? People who see me in person, is the last thing they assume that I'm a process guy. They just think I'm a Jersey Shore dude who's just talking to the baseball. But yeah, I mean, it's great. We're constantly working on refining it even more. And trying to get the consumer to also believe in it at the same time, right? And utilize it to the best of their capacity and keep them off, I won't name apps, right? But keep them off some of the other apps that are not as consumer friendly. Well, or they're more consumer friendly and not merchant friendly, right? Where we truly can keep that ability to have that client honed in on, not get veered from wanting to learn about mortgages to get shifted to taxes or get shifted to applying for a credit card because they're now approved for it, and then they just crush their credit because that outstanding approval odd was not outstanding, and really be able to stay on top of it from there and then push them, but keep those alerts coming, because I think that also keeps us in check too. I'm sure some of the other colleagues here also do it, but then it's like, oh snap, yeah, maybe I should go out there and create an added post on social media, or go out there and actually maybe push a little, because there's so much tools in this industry, from this to that. And I think it's honing in on those and then being able to actually implement them and track all the KPIs and understand what the clients are actually using and where the leverage is getting stuck at, and take it from there.
Love it. All right, man. We're gonna dig into the WAM wallet a little bit, because Abdel just hit on it, and Alice talked about social, and Mark's using the product as a at the top of the funnel as well. But so far for FinLocker anyway, nobody's done it like What's a Mortgage has done it in terms of true top of funnel lead gen. And then you've taken it to another level by really, honing in on features of the wallet and creating stories, and I don't even know what stories are, reels, I guess, whatever those things are, those post things that you do. Tell us a little bit about your experience so far, Min, with the WAM wallet.
I feel like the WAM wallet, it's like glue. it gets the client stuck to you. That's how I look at it. So I got to make sure I put out the right piece of information. And if I put out the right information and they download the wallet, the client's stuck to you. So we've had higher conversions, easier conversions. I look at Wham Wallet as like almost free money because it just pops up out of nowhere when you least expect it and it's ready to go. But the features that I anchor the most is the value checks. So if you have a home, if you think about writing an offer on a home through the wallet, it'll tell you if the home is overpriced or not. A consumer, if they're punching in different addresses, what does it tell you their sentiment? They're really buying something. So I use it even for the value check so that people can see if it's worth writing the offer or not, especially when prices were kind of unstable. No one wants to overpay. So I would use the fear factor of overpaying to download the Wham wallet. So I'm just looking for different features like that the wallet offers to get people to download. Now, I made a video this weekend. I called Refi Ready. Are you Refi Ready? You know, because even though rates are pulling back, it might not be ready yet. If you download our Wham wallet, it does a soft pull, but every day rates update, it will tell you your potential monthly savings so that you don't have to call a loan officer. So little things like that I'm using the wallet for to kind of be an LO for me, because there's a lot of DIY people out there, and the DIY people, they gravitate to the wallet. Another one, if is everyone here a lender? Everyone here is a lender, correct?
Yeah.
Like a lender, think about this with the whole NAR situation. If you download the wallet, you can get on a home search and see these homes and see what other agents are seeing without signing and committing to a real estate contract, especially with new construction. You know, so that's how I'm leveraging the wallet.
Love it. And just for the audience, again, you don't see Min's face. He's got technical difficulties, but very memorable. Go to What's a Mortgage on all the different socials, and you'll get a flavor for the content that Min and the team put out. What I've been most excited about from the What's a Mortgage perspective, but frankly, all of you that are on the screen, is how much you all truly lead with education. Right. So there's a lot of people that talk about the importance of financial education and financial literacy, but aren't really doing anything except saying it's important. You all have put your money where your mouth is by investing in a product like, the FinLocker experience, but more importantly, investing in creating content, consistent content, and putting the time in to truly be that trusted source of education. And so that's where I want to kind of go next, if we could, and just kind of go around the room and just, again, as I said earlier, you may or may not use FinLocker ever. That's okay. If nothing else, some of the gold nuggets that you're going to get from folks in terms of how we all think about consumer education, I think there's some great takeaways there. So Alice, I'm going to start with you. Are you guys focused on anything specific at Leader One that would be, worth sharing with the audience here around consumer education at scale?
Yeah, well, I recently actually became an ambassador for the First Home IQ program. With Mark Savage. So, I feel like how a lot of times, a piece of technology will come in, and Abdul talked about it a little bit. We can get technology fatigue, right? There is so much stuff out there. So we really are working on boiling down our technology to things that are really impactful and the things that bring the most value for the consumer. And then sometimes it's a little bit of, we're a little bit more of a slow start group. So it's like, it's working. We're threading it into our process, and we can see where it's starting to go like this, and then all of a sudden, and I think First Home IQ is going to be one of those initiatives that's going to pair so well with Manifest with Us, because every time we do one of those seminars, everyone's going to sign up. I've got my first one scheduled that's direct to consumer, and then also in a realty office. We want to go out to the communities, to the schools, and that's going to be what we use to have people actually sign in to be a part of that workshop, let's say. So I think it goes hand in hand with education, and it's something that you can use even during your presentations. Everyone can be logged in, and you can say, okay, we're going to get you signed up. We're going to go through this feature. We're going to show you the score simulator and what would happen if you paid your bills on time for 3 months. And I think part of getting people ready and helping them to understand that it's possible for them, no matter where they're at today, that's always a part of the battle. You send someone off to a credit counselor, or you say, yeah, you need to have another year of self-employment taxes, and you're just letting them set sail. They really still feel like they're floating in the breeze. But if you're engaging them into something where that they can actually go in and be working inside of something, and you can show them a tangible path, then they feel like it's possible. And I think a lot of the times that's one of the most critical points to keeping people engaged, is to help them to believe that they can do it.
I love that. And again, we find these different use cases that the product is kind of engaged in, that weren't necessarily top of mind for us when we were designing and developing this product. And one of those, Alice, you just talked about was, kind of taking the first-time homebuyer seminar or class that just about every loan officer has conducted at some point in their career, right? And most of us have done it in a very, I'm going to tell you what you should do kind of methodology. And what we're seeing happen with our product is that it's basically combining the education with the experiential education. So I'm not just going to tell you should do X, Y, and Z, but I'm actually going to give you a tool that's going to address X, Y, and Z, and you get to learn it and actually put your hands on it. And again, wasn't part of our initial design and development kind of thinking, but definitely is coming to life that way.
And I think that's a way you really start to have exponential growth in the amount of lockers you have, because you can have these virtual seminars and everyone joins. And we want to start doing them monthly and working with real estate offices. Every realtor wants to have one too, right? But they're worried that they're going to buy a plate of sausage and cheese and go to a bar and show up and no one's going to be there, right? So we've created the concept of having these open invitation but personally branded home buyer workshops, to where maybe you go into a real estate office and you say, we'll co-brand a piece of marketing for you, and everyone can bring in, if it's one person or if it's 10 people, you can bring in and it can be yours. And we have this First Home IQ education. We've got the Manifest With Us app that they can sign up for. And I feel like if you do those consistently over time, you can really make a name for yourself and your community, and they can become really popular. So
love it. So Mark, I know working with consumers that sometimes have a little blemish is something you guys really take to heart with your team, right? You guys subscribe to, it's not no, it's not now. And you really roll up your sleeves and kind of live the experience with your prospective home buyers. Kind of talk a little bit about, how you manage the pipeline of these folks that might be 6, 12, 18 plus months from being ready to buy.
So it is check-ins, and there are, we try to schedule out 3 months, 6 months based on the scenario, and check in. And, there are times if they haven't taken the steps that have, 1, 2, and 3 that we ask them to, that they start avoiding the calls and not returning the emails. So we're really seeing this as an extension of being able to have some soft touches or arm's distance touches, touch and stay involved in the process without a direct conversation, because sometimes direct conversations can be awkward.
Yeah, especially when it comes to personal finance, and frankly, when it comes to personal finance, when maybe it's not perfect.
Right. But what we've really embraced is this keeps it in front of us and keeps it in front of our realtor partners, and not out on the other real estate sites where there's other realtors being marketed to. The other thing we are really looking forward to, and this is a fairly new product for us. We just started this summer, and but is the cost savings we're going to have on credit pulls. I mean, checking back with them and rerunning their scores. I mean, that's starting to, especially at a smaller company like ours. I mean, that's really starting to hit the wallet.
Yeah.
And so being able to stay in touch with that and have some of the credit suggestions be done there, stay away from the trigger lead calls each time that we run their credit. So being able to have those conversations and really know when to check in with them. We've seen, so-and-so is Betty Smith has reached a milestone, seeing that and knowing to prompt out, and Betty's probably ready. If she's not called us already, excited about it, that Betty's ready to have a conversation. So.
Love that. And when we first designed the product, you'll hear me say this a lot because it is, the product as we see it today that you all use is not the product that we just, started to work on 4+5 years ago, right? And specifically this year, we really doubled down on the alerts back to you as, the admin user, if you will, right? And it was always a little bit of a dance for us because, we don't want the consumer to feel like they're being watched, right? And so there's kind of a little bit of a science and art to how much do we provide, how timely do we make it, but where we really see it be successful is when the mindset of the loan officer is such that they're not big brother-ish, they're really here to assist. So Abdel, I want to take it over to you real quick because I think early on you saw something with that credit pull that was really useful for your business and kind of how you were driving everybody into your instance early on. And I think it was probably similar to what Mark uncovered is, that the rising cost of credit, right, and credit pulls and kind of how you leverage the app to help you manage that.
Yeah, totally. I mean, what was it? January is when credit costs tripled. And one, it was definitely an added tool, PRMG in itself. And I went back purposely because I know we discussed this at leadership, but we had different tech, and you guys actually, it was over 1.5% more fundings, 279% increase for the loan officers who are using the app, which is bananas. Two, you tell that to a loan officer and they're like, holy crap, I could definitely use that and grow 279% of my business. But I think also when we get the consumer to buy into using the app, they end up being our brand, like what Alice, what you were mentioning, a brand ambassador, right? The client is your brand ambassador at that point, right? And we're staying top of mind, but those alerts have been huge, because we're always busy, whether it's origination, ops, marketing, this, that, and then when you get that notification, it's that extra ability to pick up the phone, consumers getting it at the same time, but reeling in the referral partner as well. Has really worked wonders, for us to truly start actually implementing it. Besides just saving on credit costs, me when it comes to education. I mean, doing our Monday market updates, staying consistent with putting that in front of them, having that access to the numerous tools, pre-contract, post-contract, and then just truly being able to just stay top of mind for them consistently, without them getting veered in 17 different directions when they're going on the media or they're hearing ABC News Channel talk about stuff. We have that ability to truly keep that client connected and engaged. And this tool has truly given us that opportunity to do it.
Love that. So Min, you heard us talking about education. And again, one of the things that I really love about what you all do at What's a Mortgage is really lead with education. So not everybody has 500,000 followers on Insta and TikTok and all that. But I know I've heard you talk about this with other groups, man. What should a loan officer, regardless of whether they have 100 or 100,000 followers, what should they be thinking about in terms of how they leverage their own social media to kind of, lead with financial education and why that's important in building a brand that's going to hopefully pay dividends for years to come?
I think is inching the consumer forward. There's remember they ever heard that term like selling is not telling? I think a lot of if you're going to grow an audience or use tactics or strategies as you educate, your consumers got to be moving forward. If they're not moving forward, it's kind of like you're not doing your job as a professional if you're not inching them forward. like the soft pull, right? I think Mark talked about it earlier, where save money on credit, but you comb through a lot of credit that maybe you shouldn't run credit on this person, maybe you shouldn't. But educating people on how to read credit is the first step, but then inch them to do a soft pull. It doesn't hurt your credit, which they didn't know. So we're just always inching them forward. And with that trust, it's easier to ask for documentation. You know, when I make a piece of content, I think about, will this content give me enough trust with them so that they give me their social security number? Was I, transparent enough? Was I honest enough? Was I sincere enough? Or did I come across very thirsty? So, once a week, I call it my community service content, where once a week I drop a piece of content that it helps the consumer, but it doesn't bring me value. So when I do ask them to download the wallet or to comment a specific word, they do, because I've already provided enough value. But then you have to differentiate the value. Like, I'll talk about all day long soft pool. I'll talk about how to pay off your home early, how to use your 401k. But I won't talk about assumable mortgages. There's a big difference. See, a lot of guys, they want to go viral with assumable mortgages. They talk about stuff that doesn't exist. Like, it does, but it doesn't, because like you ever hear someone throw you a hook, and then when you watch the hook and you actually hear the content, like, really, you get more upset because they hustled you instead of giving them true value on what's important to them. One thing I was going to talk about later, Brian, like, I'm doing a deal with a living trust company. Anyone who downloads our WAM wallet will get a free living trust. That's like, so now when I do ask for something, I'm not going to get a hard time. Just like, right? Anyone here married, when you do something kind and nice, it's easy to ask for something back. Or like, hey, if I want to pick where I want to eat, I'm sure I've been good the whole week long before I ask where we're eating on Friday. So stuff like that. Just so education comes with, you have to give something of high value, not always look at an angle of making money. If you look at high value, when you do throw something of money, it comes back 100-fold, and it comes back even easier.
Yeah, I love that. And it reminds me of something that I joke about, but I'm also, it still irritates me. And we're all guilty of it, but it's a loan officer that the first and maybe only call to action on their content is apply now. Of course that's what we all want. We get it. But if that's the only call to action, especially in markets like we've been in, I mean, you think about if your funnel's like this and your only call to action is apply now, you're only ever going to get the narrowest of narrow, into that desired call to action. And so, being an educator first, being a giver first, widens the funnel, but having other opportunities and other calls to action to meaningfully engage, I think is a powerful strategy. Okay, we're down to the home stretch here. Down to the home stretch. So we'll start again with you, Allison. As you think about, we're going into hard to believe we're going to be going into Q4 here sooner than later, right? So we're going to wind down 2024. We're already thinking about 2025 and beyond. What's one thing that you're kind of focused on? You guys are focused on in 2025 that doesn't give away the trade secrets that are kind of unique to Leader One.
Well, we're switching to Total Expert, so we're dialed in on our CRM choice, and I think it boils down to education. Everyone wants to get in a hurry when the opportunity increases. It's like kind of, oh, what do we do? How do I grab and whatever? And I think that remaining calm and keeping and doing the same things, doing the education, allowing people to come to you and trust you in their own time. Just staying with the basics. I think that, as far as, this is my shameless plug for FinLocker, like being on this call has been amazing, because I realize I need to talk to Abdel and I need to talk to Min and Mark, and you guys have been so giving. You've given first. You've helped us, so much. You poured so much time into creating our app. But just being in community with you guys and being here on this call, like learning how other people are using the app, it's incredible. So just, making this a part of our process. and using tools that you want to talk about, not even when it's time for someone to sign up. Using tools that you're proud of, that are just, you know, in lockstep with just your just the way that you want to be in just your professional life. And then, you know, I think the challenge for us in the year ahead, because we know we have hundreds of people, you know, and it's getting ready to be thousands of people in our lockers, is to not let all that hard work go to waste. So making sure that we're doing everything that we need to do to, when we do get those Christmas morning emails where someone's credit score has gone up overnight, just making sure that we're dialed in on everything that we're going to do after we've captured our clients' information, to continue to follow them along that journey. Because in the end, what do we want? And we want to help them buy a house, right? And so that's our goal.
Love that. Mark, I know you guys are still relatively, you know, early in your FinLocker journey, but super excited about how you guys are already kind of lining it up as a kind of a key component in your business. What's on the horizon for you all as you kind of think into Q4 and beyond?
Yeah, so we also were, I think, in 3 weeks making the switch over to Total Expert. So I'll be excited to see. I saw a thumbs up from Abdel, and sounds like, you know, Alice's company is doing that as well. How we're planning immediately, we're sending this out to all our refi people, all the people that we've been watching rates for, as a tool to tie into our Optimal Blue, and with their, you know, their credit scenario and their equity position, these are possible rates. So that is something we're doing. We're also looking to do this to some local groups. At Highland, we've created a new program geared towards neighborhood heroes, with a discount toward them. And I think we're going to look out and market this to those groups, with teachers and local hospital workers and local fire departments. One of our loan officers down in Alabama, in her first 2 weeks with this product, I think signed up over 100 consumers. So
Wow.
we're also going to learn from her on you know, the neighborhood outreach with that. You know, and I think having more of those success stories will have our other loan officers buy into this. You know, I think it sounds great in theory, and then there's a price associated with, and is it an immediate, we're going to get a return on our investment immediately. And I think the more we have some success stories of, okay, this person raised their credit score 150 points and got to qualifying. This person pulled out this much equity. This person had, you know, this as their budget, and they restructured their debt to, you know, be able to afford more of a house than they originally thought.
Love that. Side note, two things. So a couple mentions of Total Expert. I think three of the four of you are either current or about to be using the Total Expert platform. Just to note, in case you didn't know, FinLocker, we have a deep integration today with Total Expert. We actually use a piece of the Total Expert platform to create the journeys that kick off the credit score changes, and, you know, all the things that are happening in the app to the consumer are powered by our use of the Total Expert platform. But a cool feature that exists for someone that is a Total Expert client. Also, we have a few other integrations with other CRMs that have similar, but in the case of Total Expert specifically, if you're marketing this app at the true top of funnel, like Min does with social, and Alice, I've seen you do this as well. When a new user creates an account, downloads the app, creates an account, if you're using Total Expert, with our integration, we automatically create a new account record in your instance of Total Expert for that. So that happens today at PRMG. So at the very top of the funnel, if you're using the app as a lead magnet off of the great content that you guys can create and put out there, we have the ability with Total Expert, and again, a couple other CRMs, to post that right as a new record into your instance. And then second side note, just last Thursday, one of our newer users, Jordan Nutter, Jordan is one of the influencers at NFM Lending on Greg Scher's team. So Jordan published a video talking about the importance of budgeting when you're planning to buy a home. If you haven't seen the video, it was really well done. In real time, so this is like as of this morning, since that video posted, she had 249 new downloads of the Homestretch app, which is their branded version. And 72% of those 249 are net new leads for Jordan. In other words, they weren't already in her database. So, 176 some brand new leads. And then the other metric that was super interesting that we looked at over the weekend, right around 14%, I think it was 12 or 14% of those users actually indicated that they were ready now. And so they downloaded the app, they go through the quick assessment and they indicated they're ready now. So how many of those are going to turn into like applications within, days of downloading the app? So just another example of that top of funnel use case. Min, you guys spend, all you do is think about how to be more relevant and more impactful on social. What's coming down the pipe for What's a Mortgage as it relates to what you all are doing on your platforms, on the social platforms?
I think right now we're doing, I think most of our audience is, I use this method called layering, where I spent a couple years putting out information to generate the right type of audience. That's why I stay away from assumable mortgages. So now we're actually, all we're doing now is showing numbers in real life scenarios. Like there was a viewer, rates improved by 75 basis points, but it just wasn't worth refinancing with the savings yet, unless they could get X amount in closing costs. So the fact that we put out something genuine, like I probably wouldn't refinance because unless you can get that extra $3,000 because it's taking too long to recoup. So we're putting out more number-based information, but a lot of people who aren't ready, and that's what we're using, we're going to start using to drive them to download the wallet and refi ready. Since these rates have come back, a lot of people hit us up. Of course, a good amount of people qualify, but there's a lot of people who just bought in the last 6 months that can't go yet, or the people who the rates haven't pulled back enough yet. And they're the ones who we're educating them on, like, don't just refi to refi. And because I know you can still get the loan done, but why wait? Why do it now? Wait. So we're trying to teach everyone patience on refinancing. Even though as a lender, like, oh, give me. But, if we do the right thing, referrals come out of it. So that's what's coming. We're really educating. I built a refinance webinar. So I'm really going to push a refinance webinar to refi or not to refi. And that's what I'm using to drive leads, because they get the wallet, but I get to see their balance, their rate, and when they got their loan, because I can't create the simulator for them without it. So, and then we'll say, hey, if rates are here, but you got this better closing costs, do it. If you're here, if you took a little bit higher rate, you can still do it. So educating refinance, because we've been purchased hard for what? This has been the longest drought, right? I think the average drought, even 2008, was like 18 months. This has been over 24 months. So you think about the amount of people who are ready to refi. So our refinance webinar, I think, is going to be I call it my golden helicopter. For me to buy my golden helicopter.
I love that. I can't wait for the video with you hanging from a helicopter like James Bond.
Yeah.
All right, Abdel, you're gonna bring us home. I'm gonna shift gears though. One of the there's a lot of reasons why I love PRMG, but one of the things that you guys do really well is kind of create tools, make tools available for loan officers that obviously creates an attraction for loan officers to want to work with PRMG. Tell us a little bit about how you leverage your tech stack in your recruiting of loan officers in your communities.
I mean, it's huge. It's probably a good portion of a majority of our business, right? Because we're seizing up all that market share from some of the loan officers that have been doing this for a little while, but don't want to assimilate to using AI or utilizing a couple plugs, MBS Highway, Sales Boomerang, list reports, and all that stuff, and actually instilling that Robin is a rock star. Robin's our I always forget their fancy titles, but she's the tech genius. Our digital lending manager, or performance marketing, and it's just truly being able to take that and then show the loan officers. We've picked up at least 4 or 5 different loan officers within the last 2 months, just from them watching us on social and then word of mouth from. Some lenders that may be a little stagnant on the tech side of things, and we've been able to just truly do them, but we're actually implementing it, right? And PRMG does a phenomenal job. It's the only company I've ever been with, so shout out to them. But it truly puts things in perspective with, if you have this tech, this is how you use it. This is a percentage. I mean, we've even done, like, if you use 4 or 5 more technology in your actual business, you grow. I don't freaking know what the metrics was. I think it was like 500 or 600%. And FinLocker is right at the top. I mean, I use it for a majority of things, and trying to figure out that, all right, you put something on social. Do you push them to the Got Mortgages website, or do you push them to download your digital business card, or do you push them that? Or now it's truly, especially hearing from you guys, well, no, it's just immediately push them to download Path Home, our version of it, and then try to stay top of mind from that, and then implement our team to be able to kind of plug them in within the funnels as well. So,
wow, you guys, I took way longer than I had planned to, so thank you all for hanging with us here. I don't know, man, I learned so much from this conversation. I'm going to selfishly ask you all to come back at some point, because I think this was super impactful. Thank you all for your time today, for being givers first, and sharing your experiences. Thank you for the partnership with us here at FinLocker. We are super grateful, and everybody that joined, thank you all for spending your lunch hour away from the crazy market for a little bit. Hopefully, if you didn't get a nugget or two, then you weren't paying attention, because there was some real gold here shared by these folks. So Alice, Adele, Mark, Min, thank you again for spending time with us today.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everybody. We'll come back and do this again, probably not too far down the road. Lots of new great stuff coming down the pipe from FinLocker. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.